Alright, welcome back everyone for another video of Virtual Warfare. Well, we already know it's Virtual Warfare. I just left, coming back for another video of mysteries of and this video is the mysteries of what is Virtual Warfare Part 2. And we left off on me saying that I was going to talk about a bunch of things in another video, so I'm just going to try to address these points in this video before the 8-minute mark. So without further ado, let's go. So old world versus new world. So these things that I'm about to tell you are from different people's opinions. I can say opinions because it's like who knows the full truth, but you know, different people's voices or whatever. And from my own collective experience, and based on Virtual Warfare's philosophy, is how I'm going to come up with this conclusion about the things that I'm about to say. So, old world versus new world. Old world is pretty much the old way of role playing, turn for turn role play style. So it would be like this, because this is the most important part, because time and effort is the most important part of roleplay fighting, you know, for Virtual Warfare and hopefully for other people too. But in this D&D type style, time is not really a factor because it's based on a turn for turn. So, you know, in that type of roleplay fight, I can say that, you know, my character comes into arena, you know, I charge up for a little bit and I wait for my opponent to, or whoever, and I don't have to state my opponent, whatever, you know, just for the sake of this video. I wait for my opponent and blah, blah, blah. And my opponent comes in, you know, it's my opponent. This is, now I'm the opponent too. Now I'm opponent too. So I say that, you know, I come in, you know, I see somebody standing, he looks like he's charged up. And I do the same thing and I get ready to go. You know, so opponent one would say, you know, I talk trash a little bit, whatever. I draw my sword and, you know, I dash side to side, whatever. I stop at you and I attack, you know, whatever the case may be. And, you know, my opponent two would just, you know, casually block it, whatever, say that he sees that the opponent goes side to side, blah, blah, block it. And then he'd give a dialogue and say, oh, you're not better than me. And I back up. And I back up and I charge up for a blast, whatever, right? So opponent one's next turn in the D&D form would be like this, you know, he listens to the dialogue, whatever. He can interrupt at that time, you know, if he wants to. But, you know, he says that he listens to the dialogue, whatever, gives a remark, whatever, get pushed back, whatever, you know, and sees that the opponent's charging up and he does something, blah, 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 blah. You know, that's a turn for turn based style role play, and this is the old world style role play fighting. Plus the fact that you can you only have to give the detail of what the opponent can see or what the opponent can experience. So, you know, if I have ice power or whatever, I don't really have to say that I have ice power. You know, I could give a reference of ice power. I can say that, you know, I come in the room and, you know, my palms, you know, starts to make ice crystals or whatever, and you know, blah blah blah, and I end my turn. You know, I don't have to say that my character is control of ice, blah blah blah, because you can see it. The opponent can see it. Now, also that, I mean, not only that, but also it creates a type of a mystery that, you know, my opponent doesn't know what I'm doing. It could just be a magical illusion that I'm just creating ice in my hand. It could be illusion and it really does no damage, or I can actually be a controller of ice and, you know, be a manipulator of ice and just hurt you with ice. You know, it could be that or the other. The opponent will never know. Therefore, you know, it just creates a mystery. And this is the old world style. The new world style is practically, you know, I would just say for the sake of this video, you know, even though quite frankly I think it's true, it can be partially true, whatever the case may be, but for the sake of this, new world style is just science, you know, science, and is practically stating everything, giving detail of every nook and cranny of your weapon, and just being very creative, very descriptive of what you're using. is just being more actual, or being more precise with the data that's being used. However, and this is the however part. However, using this concept of like science and all this detail is still a turn for turn based roleplay style. And this is the part that trips me out, because I see people using the New World style with, being really detailed about what they're using. However, they use this concept. They say every 2 turns or every 3 turns, I gain an attack or whatever, or I gain an ability or whatever it gets me. I gain more power, or I gain more speed, or whatever. I gain something every 2 turns. But this is the crazy part about this concept, because once you use the concept of interruptions, which I might have to explain in a further video, once you get to that concept, you actually pause that moment of time. Not pause, but minimize the time frame between each action. So instead of being a minute between, it would be a couple seconds for. So I'm gonna have to pause the video to get my thoughts together. All right. So for example, say my opponent is 10 feet away and he's going to draw his sword, say something small like, I'm gonna get you, and then run towards me, whatever, right? And my character has an ability that gets an enhancement of strength every 2 turns, okay? So my opponent goes, he attacks, whatever, right? And I say that, now this is the part. Now, I say that my opponent, while my opponent is drawing his sword, or before he draws his sword, whatever, or before he's, talks, whatever, I just run towards him and attack, whatever, right? And that's 1 turn. I'm using one of my turns, whatever, right? So it's my opponent's turns now, and he says that, while I draw my sword, or I get, my speech get interrupted, and I see my opponent running towards me, and I back up and do whatever, right? That's my opponent. That's my opponent's turn, right? Now it's my turn again. Now it's my second turn, right? But in my stance, or my profile, whatever you want to call it, it says that I get an enhancement of strength every 2 turns. So now it's my second turn, whatever, right? But, only a fraction, only a couple seconds happen within that role play scenario, so it didn't take long for him to draw his sword and, blah, blah, blah. But before he even drew his sword, I ran towards him and attacked. But now I'm getting an energy boost, so that means in 2 seconds, I'm having twice as much power as I did 2 seconds ago, but this is where the inconsistency comes from, because you never know the scenario of the role play battle. You can interrupt in milliseconds or whatever, and that means you just get an energy boost every millisecond. It's like, that's just it's inconsistent, because there's no consistency of time, and if you do say that you get an energy boost every 5 seconds, whatever, that means you have to go by the virtual warfare style, which is, using the elements of time and effort to describe your roleplay scenario, because you can't go by turns no more, because that means you can just stand there. You can just stand there all day and just talk, or just do anything, just draw your sword, whatever. You can do things to just gain power every 5 seconds. And that means you have no choice. The opponent has no choice but to interrupt whatever you're doing, because they're not going to let you charge up, for 25 seconds to get all this energy. No, they're going to attack you, and that's going to be the end of it. So you have no choice but to interrupt. Therefore, you have no choice but to go by the element of time. But the thing is, it's so many different concepts. You got the old world concept where you don't have to explain too much. You have the new world concept where you have to explain everything. You have the turn for turn basis of new old world, and you have the turn for turn basis for new world, but interruptions is the main thing for new world. And it's so many different things. It's like, where's this stuff coming from? And I just want to say that virtual warfare deals with a system that doesn't have different concepts in one. It's one concept that has a lot of different variants of what to what to focus on. You know, focus on time, focus on energy, focus on distance. Of course, you focus on how much force something is given out, and you focus on, you know, a lot of different things that you experience in everyday life. You know, and just make it more realistic. And this is virtual warfare. This is actually past the 8-minute mark. I'm not too good with explaining stuff, but I try, and that's all that counts. There's more. You can actually see one of the secret. I forgot what they call. I think secret errors, or I forgot. But one of the secret errors that videos that I created is in a written form with the automated voice. So I think that would be more helpful than my talking, because I can't really talk. But that's the end of that. So thanks for watching. There'll be more topics that I have to cover real quickly, and thanks. You know, I owe you guys a lot for subscribing and stuff like that. It really encouraged me to make more. You know, it's really awesome, and you know, that's it. Thanks a lot, and thanks for watching. I see everybody in the next video. Deuces.